It's the album that I keep skipping every time. I even listen to Plavo Honey once in a while, and not this album.
I really, really, really love every single aspect of this album except the music.
It's so forgettable that I don't know anybody who listened to this album actually.
They released this on your birthday because they hate you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Have you heard something so mid that it's just boring?
That's it. This is the last Airbender directed by M. Night Shyamalan of music. So we should have audio now and we should be live. How are you doing? In 3, 2, 1. Welcome once again, my dear friend Keno. How's it going? How are you feeling?
Hey, long time no see, long time no see.
Long time no see, dude. So much has been happening, just like the last time, I guess. Full of excuses, of excuses every single time.
University, am I right, fellas?
Oh man, but anyways, I'm so happy that we can be talking once again. For anybody who can be out there, welcome. My name is AlexMC and I'm with my buddy Kenogigogne, and we are doing once again this little show that we are calling Music Collective. How are you doing today, my friend?
Honestly, it's stressful. There was a match that I was playing soccer with my friends for this tournament we are having, and let me tell you, the extra time was not expected for neither team. So that's why I am late. It's my fault. I apologize to everyone, especially you, Alex.
Okay.
But yeah, we're here live. It's so many things going on right now in my life. I just finished uni, so now I have the time to actually do anything, so that's great.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I don't know if I passed or not. It just ended.
Well, we need to have a little bit of faith, okay? So yeah. I believe in you, like Talk said. Well, with me, also I've been having a lot of things. To sum it up, because my story is kind of long, when we last talked, that we was around January or something like that. First of all, my computer died, my laptop, which is a gaming laptop that I bought like 7 or 8 years ago. It was about time. It had a really good run. During that time, I built me a PC. I had vacations from work. I came back, I returned from that. We had a lot of shit going on there. Then I lost my job. Yeah, I am unemployed at the moment. However, let's not panic. I'm doing the process that I need to do at this moment, having interviews and all of that boring adult stuff. And thankfully it's going well. I have 2 job opportunities in my pocket right now. So we'll see how that goes next week. And to be fair, a little bit of procrastination along the way, let's be honest. I've been keeping my demons locked in the basement. Mostly of my demons are learning how to do this project, learning how to edit videos, dealing with listening to my own voice, improving the quality of everything. So now that I had some time in my pockets, we were right on time to resume this project. And I'm happy that we haven't forgot about it. So that's about it, to briefly tell what the fuck has been going on with us. So anyways, welcome. This time have a topic that we want to talk about. Last time we were talking about a topic that you brought to the table, what was it? Man, I forgot already.
It was albums that were being forgotten.
That's right, albums that were being forgotten. I'm really proud of that video, except for the audio quality. However, I'm really proud of what we were saying. I like the format, I like the length of the video. And this time, it's a topic that I brought, which is albums that I consider that were a waste of potential. This is a bit of an inspiration, listening to things that I think by the quality of the artist should have delivered something much more better. Like the end result of it should have been 10 times, 100 times better, or it lacks in some aspects, That is what brings us to the table. So we're ready to throw some albums to the dumpster, literally. Let's send the scene to what are some albums that are wasted potential? We brought 5 albums each, and we're going to say what's the deal with those. I'm gonna start because I brought the idea here. Last time you took the first album, this time I'm gonna take the first album, so we're going to be trading one by one, and we're going to start with an album that everybody agrees that it's got flaws. A very easy pick. This is a band that I really like, that is loved by many, and many video essays have been done about it before, which is Be Here Now by Oasis. So nothing new about this. Even Noel Gallagher has said it himself. This album is a big mess. It's a bunch of dudes
guys
in the studio, high on cocaine,
coke,
not giving a fuck. Well, let's first say that I am kind of a big Oasis fan. I have here in my collection, definitely maybe. These are the Super Deluxe from the 25th anniversary edition or 20th anniversary edition. I forgot the year. So this is hardcover, 3 CDs, got all the B-sides, demos. I also have What's the Story Morning Glory with me. And, oops, what brings us to the topic, Be Here Now. Along with other 2 albums, I also have Standing on the Shoulder of Giants, and I also have Dig Out Your Soul. So I guess I have the strongest points of the Oasis discography.
We can argue right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of hardcore. I'm happy for the reunion. I have my tickets for the concert. So this critique comes from a bit of a place of love as well. So Be Here Now, it's got issues, you know, especially after the 2 biggest albums, which are definitely maybe What's the Story Morning Glory. You know, those were the lightning in a bottle, which you don't happen to do twice, and they did it. Once they did that, and once they took over the world with the discography, basically that got all over the members of the band. It got all over Noel Gallagher. However, the song had potential before this album came together as it is. If you listen to the demos, you know, the rehearsals, there's still a lot of potential. However, it got messed up in the production, and that is the main responsible to blame for the failure of this album, in my opinion, because it's bloated, you know. They tried to make this album to sound as big and as loud as possible because they were big and loud. That's it. You know, it's not the worst album ever. Let's say that out loud. It's got some moments. However, it got the moments where it drags. You know, like the starter song. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what you mean, let me tell you, on the very beginning. That's a nothing song. Noah has given us many nothing songs like Champ and Supernova. However, those work. This time, I don't know, the spark isn't there, I guess, to say it in one or another way. You got All Around the World. That song is so bad that it's good. Like, if you listen to it, like, you want to cherish a little bit, I say that's the most gentle I can be with that song. That song is so bad. It drags. Yeah, and it wants to get mass.
Two songs, man.
It cuts into songs, and it wants to grow and grow and grow, and it goes na 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 all around the world, and then it's literally picks up like the Xbox 360 microphone. I don't know. It's terrible. So this album has a lot of issues. However, is it so horrendous? No. At this point, nothing could really kill Oasis. I'm literally saying everything that another YouTuber said, Todd in the Shadows, when he made a train record video about this album. But to start softly, I think this album is a waste of potential because the potential is in the tracks, in the demos of this album. If you hear the acoustic, the first versions of the songs, there's really a lot of soul in them. However, the production just gets messier and messier for the sole purpose of being loud and obnoxious. The band was full of themselves and nobody could stop them. That's Be Here Now, and thankfully they toned it down with the album after. However, this album has a lot of flaws. That's what I can say very quickly.
I'm gonna share my thoughts on this album because Yeah, I share a lot of the sentiment with a lot of reviewers. You say, Todd in the Shadows, Make the Snare, or whoever. Everybody has the same problem with this album, which is the mixes. They sound not terrible. It's just in the loudest war, it's a casualty. It sounds like Rick Rubin came and went by because it sounds so loud and it's so long. It's like an hour and 10 minutes, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's massive. It's truly a beast of on Phantom scale. Like they really went to, we are already the biggest band on the world, so we're gonna make the biggest, loudest, longest thing ever, and yeah, they delivered that. And well, another issue that this album has, like I said, it's got a lot of nothing songs. Like, well, do you know what I mean? It's a good opener. I can look on. Yeah, I can look on some songs that literally say nothing, but you got songs like Magic Pie. That song is just garbage. And you also have the title song, which got good rhythm. That's not exactly a bad song, but what is really saying? Like, it's just saying a lot of nonsense. So that's another issue that the album has. Yeah, I think this album loses a lot of the spirit. It loses a lot of what people the anthem feeling of the other first two records. It just really bloated. I guess that's a little redundant, but to start, I wanted to bring an easy album to judge.
For me, Be Here Now is a black sheep, but not the darkest black sheep, because for me, it's just the beginning of inconsistency era for me.
And also not the worst Oasis album. To me,
no, by far.
To me, the worst Oasis album, and I think a lot of fans also agree, is Hidden Chemistry, where the band was just on a massive turmoil of internal conflicts, where the two brothers were just really not getting along, were just throwing ideas like, see what shit sticks onto the wall, and yeah, let's just go back to the sound that everybody wants to hear. That album just loses a lot of spark. Here, it's got the spark. However, it's just too bloated. That's it. It's just too bloated.
Yeah.
It's too full of drugs and full attitude.
It's the momentum, man. Those first two records are great. Like, I listened to them back to back yesterday because I don't know. I just wanted to listen to Oasis, and I listened to those two first albums, and they are loud. Don't get me wrong, they're loud as shit. But they have substance, they have the vibes, they had the meaningless songs made sense, you know what I mean?
This is the thing. With Definitely Maybe and What's the Story Morning Glory, they really capture a special feeling to them. This is like music that just sits well. Instead of Be Here Now, it's like music that we're making for the sole purpose of being the biggest rock band in the world, and we're going to prove them, and this is a statement of that.
I had a conversation with one of my friends about this album a while back, and the argument he told me, it was the first two albums were written when Noel was nobody. The third album was written when Noel was the greatest songwriter of Britain,
True,
so that mentality shift must be taking something on the album,
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I think that they're missing a spirit, they really, once they hit so high, that got over the head of every single member in the band. Of course, Noel getting dragged along with Liam and everybody else, and all of the money and all of the drugs and all of that. Yeah, this album is very scarred for that. However, it's a period in time, this trilogy of albums, it really marks what Oasis is at this point, which is a humble start, a massive blow up, and a massive fall down. Sort of fall down, because they couldn't fall down, and it's not so terrible. Again,
no, it's not terrible, but it's a drop in quality that it was so noticeable that you could never go back, honestly. Like, you have to write, another, some might say, another Definitely Maybe, another What's the Story Morning Glory, and sometimes you just can't, I don't know, maybe they can release an album tomorrow, because at this point everything can fucking happen,
So I guess that for the start on my part, something very easy and very agreeable for everybody. So how about we jump on your take?
My controversial opinion.
That's right. So
The king of limbs, or the king of the limbs, in my opinion.
okay.
Because it's a L album. It's I all right. This is a personal story for me because this was when I got into music, like for real, like the music outside of my parents' stuff or the things of my older cousins used to listen. And I downloaded this album pirated in 2012, around the time, like the year after it was released. I was 14 and I didn't knew much about music. All I know was Radiohead was the best band of the time and whatever. And I listened to this out. I listened to the whole discography until The King of Limbs, and I thought, this is pretty good. I love almost every album except for the debut, and the debut still has some couple of good songs. And then I listened to King of Limbs, and it's just short, forgettable. I don't know. It felt like a solo project, 5 solo projects mixed together, more than a band in itself. It's the album that I keep skipping every time. And when I mean that I even listen to Plabo Honey once in a while, and not this album. And Plabo Honey is bad. Let me tell you, those songs are bad, but these ones are forgettable, which is worse. I am gonna share another controversial opinion. I don't like In Rainbows that much. I love. Don't get me wrong. I think like In Rainbows could be the best album of any other band, but for Radiohead, it's not even top 5.
Oh, this had to come up at some point. I knew about this hot take you had, and I have my share of my own. We'll address the elephant in the room in a little bit.
The elephant in the room is that I don't like In Rainbows as much. Like, I listened to it like yesterday on my way back from uni, and let me tell you, it's a great collection of songs that doesn't work as an album. But returning to King of the Limbs, King of Limbs, it's forgettable. I just couldn't get into it, and I tried, but I just couldn't until I'm gonna agree. The video for Lotus Flower, it's kind of good, but other than that, it's just forgettable. Like, I couldn't even tell you 2 songs of the album, even if you have a gun to my head. I just couldn't.
Well, let me address my elephant in the room.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is, of course, I like the King of Limbs. Not only I like the King of Limbs, I am probably the King of Limbs' strongest soldier. I think this is a highlight in Radiohead discography. Yes, you hear me right, and I like it for the wrong reasons, worst of all. So the feel I get from listening to the King of Limbs is that it sounds really, 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 really artificial. So how is that good? Because literally Radiohead is not strange to make quote-unquote artificial music. Kira is fully electronic. However, to me at least, it is a vibe. What helps this album, in my opinion, are a couple of things. One, it's really short. 30 minutes, not many songs, it comes and goes very easily. And the second reason why I like the King of Limbs so much is because, thankfully the songs are very slow. The songs, all of them are very moody, and they try to, like I said, it's very artificial sounding, but it kind of wants to replicate a natural vibe, I guess, by piling it up with a lot of sampling and a lot of electronics. The sampling is all over the place. It's the most sampled sound based album ever. And especially we're talking about Radiohead, so I see why the dislikes. Like, I get it. I get the public opinion. However, it sweets to me, and I don't think that it's really off-brand with Radiohead, because they just try to make something different every single time. So if they try to deliver something that sounds a little bit like what they did before, I think it will have been much more detrimental. One of my examples, I guess, is Hair to the Teeth, trying to make a more rock sound based album. I think that that album is not a bad album. However, it can be a little weak compared to the massive discography that they have been releasing.
I'm a Teeth defender.
Well, but yeah, one of the massive disappointments, however, I do have with the King of Limbs is I have it in my hand. What the fuck is this packaging? Like, I have the CD here. I have the CD here, and the art, everything that gives me is this. Is this. There's no booklet, there's no nothing. There's a little bit of text.
Really?
Yeah, this is it. This is it. A piece of cardboard.
This cardboard, oh my god.
It's a piece of cardboard. Like, this is literally garbage.
At least the Broken EP had some artwork, you know?
Yeah, no, this is an awful delivery, and sadly it's something that's been trending after this album. You know, I think Radiohead has been very detrimental with their packaging, their re-releases of Kid A and OK Computer.
Oh, yeah.
They are crime against the humanity unless you pay $100,000 for the super special ultra limited deluxe editions, which I won't pay for that money. Anyways, the King of Limbs, I see why it's so shit about. However, I defend it. It suits me. I like it for the wrong reasons. I don't have many arguments to defend this album, but it just feels good to me, you know, and that's enough.
If you want to listen to anything, just listen to it. Like, if you say these albums are wasted potential, it's just for us, you know? This is, music is subjective, especially when it comes to liking something or disliking something. Just take a vibe. No, I know people who like, you know, people who really like the Saint Anger album or the Be Here Now or albums that we're gonna talk about, that people like it. But it's just subjective at this point. So yeah, you don't have to defend anything except King of the Limbs. You have to defend that.
Yeah. To just wrap it up, my thoughts on the King of Limbs. I really like them because one of them it's short. You know, that's a plus. It also, like I said, it has an artificial sound. However, that artificial sound, it kind of trying to imitate nature, I guess. That's the vibe I get from it. And maybe that resonates with me, you know, like looking at the rainy city and listening to this and feeling nostalgic about the forest. Like, that's the vibe that I get from it. Also, another argument with the King of Limbs is, if King of Limbs so bad, why King of Limbs from the Basement so good? Huh?
Oh yeah, From the Basement is so good. It's so good, yeah. Maybe because Beep Boop is so boring in 2011 and Rock is so better in 2011.
Yeah, I think that just solidifies the argument that the King of Limbs is a heavily sampled album, and maybe that's what hurts it. Yeah. The wasted potential, the public opinion, you know, I see it, and I think that in general, it's valid. It's completely valid.
Let's move on then.
Okay. Yeah, I have the next album is the one that motivated me to bring this topic to the table, which is Pearl Jam, No Code. I really, really, really love every single aspect of this album except the music. So
how? Yourself, young man.
Let me tell you what's my argument about this. So prompts. This album is sandwiched between two periods. One is sandwiched between Vitalogy, which is like the closure of Pearl Jam's trilogy of grunge albums, the really heavy grunge sound that everybody knows Pearl Jam for. And second of all, is sandwiched between Yield, which is the transition from being like heavy grunge band into more alternative rock. However, Yield is the album that No Code couldn't be. The problem with No Code is that it's really inconsistent with its sound. It tries to sound grunge, it tries to sound heavy. However, it's got bad songs. That's it. It's got really bad songs. That's the detrimental about it. And the other thing I really love about this album is that while not being a conceptual album, it's got a central idea, which is the idea of growing up, which fits so well with the time when this was released, when Pearl Jam, the members were going from literally rebel teenagers who took over the world to being more adults and having an opinion and having a battle with Ticketmaster. I think those events really influenced the sound of this and the sound that Pearl Jam will bring out to the future. However, I think it's also the victim of a lot of immaturity from the members. Like it's inconsistent, I guess. They have this idea, but they don't know how to say it. It's got some highlights. For example, of He Goes, I think that's a fantastic song, one of their best on Pearl Jam's catalog. It's a song that's very personal for Eddie Vedder, talking about how it is to be like a shitty friend. One of the other highlights is the song I'm Open, which is like an interlude, but I think that really wraps up the whole idea of this album, which at some point of the song, I don't remember very well how it says it, but it's like, Alex from the 18th chair here. During the storm, I couldn't remember the lyrics I wanted to bring on, so I'll express my point right now. The lyrics in the interlude, I'm Open, depict an adult man having a moment of self-reflection where at one point in the song it says this. When he was 6, he believed that the moon overhead followed him. By 9, he has deciphered the illusion, trading magic for facts, no trade backs. So this is what it's like to be an adult. This is what I mean when I say that No Code is an album about growing up. It's the realization of your change of perspective compared to your younger self, and having to come to terms with that fact. Although it's a good idea to reflect in an album, No Code fails because, well, let's go back to the video. It's about growing up. But yeah, I like the idea of No Code. Even the album art, like the unbending of it, having like a triangle, that's really fun. I'm a big sucker for visual stuff like that. But the songs are just bad. The main songs like Hail Hail, Mosquito Something Something, Smile is just a bad song. Maybe that's a little bit of a hot take for other fans because, Smile is such a spiritual, it's on the title, it says Smile is a bad song, sorry buddy. Pearl Jam at this point, they know how to make songs. And if they're going to grow up as a band, they could have, how this album could have been fixed to put my ideas in order. I think they should have been going on a more acoustic route on slower songs and not try to bring up these heavy punching songs like Hail Hail or Red Mosquito. I think they really hurt the album. I also think that the ideas that they present, they're all over the place. Like I say, Yield is much more consistent and Yield is what No Code couldn't be.
Well, I'm gonna keep it short and brief. I think this album is consistent. It has broad sounds, like you said. Yeah, maybe it's about growing up, but I think this is consistent. Like, you have to remember, this is their their fourth album in 6 years, if you consider from 10 to this point. This is the first album with a different drummer, Jack Irons, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it's an inconsistent album. It's an album I wouldn't consider, it's their downward trajectory, in my opinion, because yeah, it's a transition album, but it doesn't feel this transition to anywhere. That's my point at this point, you know. I remember listening to this album religiously when I was a teenager because grunge music, but now I'm just seeing it as an inconsistent album at this, like, right now.
Yeah, no, I fully get it. That's the most detrimental about it. The inconsistency, in my opinion, it's because of immaturity from the band, from the period when it was released. Also, I forgot, the kicking of the drummer. That I think that's a thing that also kind of hurts the album as well, or the story of the band. You know, it's very impactful. During the making, pre and post No Code, a lot of shit was happening at the time. You know, they had this conflict with Ticketmaster, they had to change the drummer, the death of Kurt Cobain as well. Grunge was kind of dying, so it was a tumultuous time for Pearl Jam at that point, and I think that reflects it in the outcome of this.
But let's be thankful, without No Code we wouldn't have Do the Evolution.
Oh yeah, without No Code we wouldn't have Yield, and Yield is one of my favorite Pearl Jam albums ever. I think it's much more consistent, it's got a central idea, one that really touches me personally.
It has sound. This one doesn't have a sound.
True. I think you completely nailed it right there. Yeah, it has a sound, and this one is just, I don't know where it is, honestly. I guess that's about it for no code. So let's continue, shall we?
Let's continue the disappointments.
Yeah, let's continue the disappointments. That's what content creation is made of. For trash, for hating, for disliking. That's what sells, or
For
not?
hating albums that we actually don't hate that much. We actually just think they're disappointing and wasted potential.
True. So,
Oh my god, this one.
the Strokes Come Down
Okay.
Machine.
Let's come down machine. Fifth studio album by New York-based band The Strokes, released in 2013. Their second album coming back from that 5-year or 6 years hiatus. How do I say that this album is such a disappointment? And I'm a Strokes defender. I defend the Strokes so much, and that's something that won't be taken out of context. I swear.
Okay. I didn't have that. I didn't have that in my thought. Okay, but let's move on. Let's move on before we fully derail it.
From the fourth album, Angles, I am a defender of that album. I think it has one of the greatest songs, like Machu Picchu or some other songs that I can't remember at the moment. But it's an album. It's a decent album. But this one, I came with hope with this album. Because I remember listening to the single, the first release from this single, which was, if I remember correctly, it was, it doesn't matter. I listened to it and I thought it was mid at the moment. I thought it was pretty mediocre, and when I listened to the whole album, I thought, oh my god, this is bad. Like, this is bad. Like, oh my god, this sounds so boring and generic. And it was during that time where a lot of bands came back from hiatus, or long-standing bands came with albums. It was Pearl Jam with Lightning Bolt. It was Alice in Chains with the album with the red cover, if I remember correctly, something about the dinosaur's bones, something like that. I listened to this album and I was so disappointed. And during a long time, that was the last thing you had next to some EP about past, present, future or something. But this album was just so disappointing. Like, I thought the drop in quality was bad, and I was worried because every album since their debut has been a downgrade from there. Like, sometimes slightly, sometimes a big jump. Like, the jump from The Room Is on Fire and the third album is bad. Like, it's bad. And the third album with Angles, it's slightly not that bad. But with this one, it was a downward spiral, you could say, until their follow-up album, The Albums All Talking, which was really, really good. But at this point, the Come Down Machine is so forgettable that I don't know anybody who listened to this album, actually. I don't know anybody who cares about this record. Even the picture, the cover art is boring. Look at that. It just has RCA, The Strokes, Come Down Machine, Ariel 12. It's just missing that,
For someone who pays a lot of attention to album covers, this is really awful. What is this? What are you selling me? Where's the art? Where's the art, man?
Yeah, I think the Strokes were known for their cover arts, which were pretty, and stuff like that. This one is just red.
Uninterested.
12.
Yeah, like we already established our brand. Like, yeah, here it is. Yeah, you expect our return. Here it is. Yeah, take it. We know you're gonna take it at this point.
Yeah, that's at the end of my argument. I just think it's boring and disappointing.
I guess I have a little bit of a confession. And no, it's not that I like this, okay? I am not a very big fan of the Strokes, not because I think they're bad in any way, just because I haven't been able to catch up on the discography, and it just really don't call me that much. I do have it in my homework. However, I listened to this album, like, for prepare for the stream to know what we're talking about. And honestly, I fully agree that this just sounds painfully mid. It's like, it's really commercial pop rock that is made for the sole purpose of playing on the radio, I guess. And it's like just uninspired, really uninspired album, especially for like, this is the, what you say, the fifth album in their catalog. what are you giving me? Like, are you even trying? Do you even want to release music? That's what I got from it. It's just really uninteresting. It's disinterested. I think it's kind of very disrespectful with the time of the fans. Like, just no.
It was a waste of time. I'm not gonna be completely honest with you. I listened to this album once in 2013, and I haven't done it since. And that's something that you, as an artist, should be not looking forward to. That, you know, if you release an album, you want it to be heard a couple of times at least. I listened to this album and I thought, yeah, I'm not. This doesn't bring anything to my table anytime soon, and
Yeah, it's just really boring. It's so immensely boring that I just need to know that. If I know that, that's enough to fully agree with the fans, because this is a popular take amongst the Stroke fans. I've seen how much it's bringing up on list of disappointing albums. So
yeah, look, that's a better. If a non-fan says they have a better sound, it's just that the argument, you know, that ends all discussion.
I guess, yeah, that just cements it. So, with that said, I'm gonna go with my pick.
Oh, this pick is painful.
Oh man, yes. So, Depeche Mode. Well, first of all, there's at the point where this album was released, there's nothing that will hurt Depeche Mode on their careers. You know, this is their 15th studio album. They had so much in their career, so they released so much album, and most of it, everything has been such a high quality. Like Depeche Mode have cemented themselves as the ultimate kings of synth pop. And well, when they came up with this, I remember the release. I remember the single, which is "Where's the Revolution." And at first listen, I thought, well, this doesn't sound bad. Okay, this doesn't sound bad, but there was something off about it. I remember very brightly. And what's the deal? I started to pay attention to the lyrics, and then I started to look at the album cover, and it was there. And for the time it was released, this album suffers from a problem that many other artists have during this time in history.
I just remember.
Yeah, it suffers from the political turmoil from the elections of the first runtime of now once again President Donald Trump in the US. I don't want to bring politics into this. However, many artists try to bring their opinions. They thought, you know, I have something to say about this. And to be fair, that's respectable, and I think you can bring up something very interesting about it. In fact, let me bring another prompt. During this time, Roger Waters released "Is This the Life We Really Want?" And I think this album is really good. The things that say come along with really good music. That's the thing. I don't have problem if you want to say something about the current state of the world. However, you are a musician and you need to bring good music. And this is just not. I think they really focus on doing that instead of producing really good songs. And that's detrimental for Depeche Mode in particular, exactly for what I said. They are the kings of synth pop. They have done everything. They have experimented in every single sonic way. And then they just bring this up, and it's just like not even half cooked. It's like 1/4 cook. It's just so poor. It's raw. It's just raw. It's uninteresting, and it's just lacking of ideas, I think. It's like they had this idea, but they presented like in such a superficial manner. It's like, current situation really bad, we should hold hands. That's all I get from this. What do you think about this album?
Okay, this album is bad, but I don't agree with certain points of the politics or whatever that is the argument. What I mean is that if you don't back it with good melodies, like holy shit, your album is so uninteresting. And We Are the Revolution was the lead single, you remember? It was just so painfully boring. And Depeche Mode, at least from the Ultra era, from Ultra onwards, they at least had good, strong singles. Even Exciter was really bad. But this one is just so boring. It's so dull. And I'm a Delta Machine defender, but this carries on with the problems of that album, which was the songs are not getting better sometimes, and that's something they solved with their Memento Mori album, sadly. But this album is just like a political statement of someone who doesn't care that much about the product itself, because at the end of the day your album is a music album, and if it doesn't have any good music on it, what's the point?
I think you just nailed it right there. I think they try to bring up something on a very superficial manner that's detrimental, and also the production in the album is just really poor and it feels undone. Another thing that's very personal is like this is the nail in the coffin, but just for me, which is during the whole catalog of Depeche Mode discography, the album art of their catalog, I think it's excellent. That discography is like a whole art gallery in itself.
Yeah.
And
even the good ones are good.
Yeah, even the first ones on the bad albums have very interesting image. And the only thing good I can rescue is it's very interesting what they did with the title Depeche Mode. That's cool. And the rest is just garbage. Like, look at the font on the word spirit. What is that? What is that blur? No, it's just poorly done. It's like, this is so undercooked. I think they know how to make good music, and they come up with this. This is just really poor. This album hurts me on a personal level because I'm a fan, and because they just are this big to be this judge, I guess.
The bigger you are, the bigger the fall, you know?
Yeah. However, they reach so high, it's like, who cares if they fall? I guess. So
yeah, if you did violate or if you did enjoy the sounds, you can do whatever the hell you want, you know?
Yeah, true. These are my arguments about this. This album is hurt a lot by bad production, poor ideas, poor execution. It's sad that this is the last album by the band being a trio. However, it's good that they kind of pull themselves up, both as person and sonically, with the next album, Memento Mori, which is a huge improve of quality.
Yes, it's surprisingly good, you know. But yeah, let's go on.
Yeah. Okay, so
next one. I'm scared.
Yours. Whiz.
Okay, Pacific Daydream by Weezer, album released in the late 2010s after the solid run of albums, which is something you don't hear as much, you know, from Weezer. But yeah, this album is bad. It's just one of the worst things I have ever heard in my life.
That's a strong statement, like the worst things.
Statement. This is worse than Gratitude, and Gratitude was bad because Gratitude came after a really mediocre album, which was the Red album. This one was after a big, like a decent 7 out of 10 album, like a 3.5 stars album, which was the White album, which was a really solid pop rock album. This one is just kind of hip hoppy inspired. It just drags on this sound that doesn't work, you know. And the worst part, it was released the day before my birthday, so my parents almost actually got me this album, which was really bad.
They just shit on you. They hate you specifically. They released this on your birthday because they hate you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, jokes aside, this is one of the worst things I have ever heard, because I expected it to be good. I thought they were continuing the run of good albums. And after Pacific Daydream, they didn't recover until OK Human. And then they didn't recover from that. But yeah, I have no recollection of enjoying a single note of this album. I think it's one of the worst things I have ever heard. It's worse than Gratitude. It's worse than Hurley. It's worse than Maldroid. It's worse than the Green album. It's worse than Make Believe. And Make Believe was bad. I think it's their weakest point ever, and it came after such a good album, which was the White album, that it's just hella disappointing, huge wasted potential. It's something that is just sad. It's just a sad Shakespearean experience, you know? It's just a bad album. Like, it's so bad. It's like one of the worst things ever.
You can rescue any single thing about this. It's like, it's so bad, it's undefendable.
It's undefendable, yeah.
Oof. Okay. Honestly, I gotta be 110% raw honest with you. I am not a Wizard hater. However, like the Strokes, I could never really get into it. However, it's not like the Strokes is like, oh yeah, I kind of like it and I have it on my homework. Wizard is so full of ups and downs that it's really difficult for me to get into them. And apparently, I'm saving myself a lot of disappointments because every single online discussion I see about Wizard, you have super highs and the lows is like, dude, they just kick them in the floor every single time. Oh,
The highs are very good, but the low are very low.
yeah, it's like I'm saving myself a lot of pain with Raditude, with the Red album, with Hurley. Literally, I haven't listened to any single full Wizard album. However, I can already name you which ones are the bad ones. So they're on that spotlight. So when you say about this, I think I believe in you. You know, this is, like I said, I haven't listened to this album. It's the only album I didn't listen to prepare myself to this. So I should skip it. I should skip it, you say. Do myself the favor and not even try it. Spend your time in other worse things. Okay. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah, we can skip any discussion of this album just to say it's a disappointing album.
Okay, so I guess I save myself the other disappointment. Okay.
Imagine this being the only Wizard album you heard, man. It would be awful.
Yeah, it would have been my first full album experience. I don't think I'm gonna get into Wizard because, well, I tried it many times. What I feel from Wizard is what I feel a little bit with Muse. It's like, when it punches really good with some of the songs, it's really good. But when I try to get into an album, it's such a roller coaster that it's man, save myself for what's after my stomach, man. I think that's the deal. Okay, so this is so awful. We get it out of the way. My turn. Okay, this is an interesting one. Gesaffelstein Hyperion. That's not the actual album cover as I'm pointing it out. And that's another plus on the disappointment list. The original album cover is literally just a black square. It's a case of like Donda or Food and Liquor 2. It's just black. It's such an awful trend that some of artists, oh man, I'm not gonna release an album cover. It's just gonna be the black color. Oh, that's so edgy. Why are you doing this? You are hurting yourself doing this. Question thought. Are you aware who Gesaffelstein is?
I'm gonna answer you real quick. No, but I have heard this album.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's a good point. So to add a little bit of story, Gesaffelstein is a French electronic musician. It's a little EDM, but much more grittier, much more heavier. It's more like industrial EDM. It's like super aggressive. One of the first album, the debut album from Gesaffelstein, which is called Alep, I think it's absolutely fantastic. It punches really hard. Gesaffelstein is also one of the main producers on Jesus. It was one of the...
That makes sense.
Yeah, true. So he was heavily involved with Kanye West made Jesus. I love the production. You know, the beat of On Sight, that is Gesaffelstein. Yeah.
It now makes so much sense, actually, you know? Now you say it.
Yeah, so you should totally check out Aleph. So that's the sound of Gesaffelstein. So the idea of this sound, I was excited when Hyperion was announced. It was announced with the first single, which is a feature with The Weeknd. And that's very odd. That's very odd for an album like Gesaffelstein. But I was digging it because I always liked the idea of making a quote-unquote very pop-like album and just make it aggressive, like make it raw, make it dirty, however with some pop qualities. So I thought, man, this could be really exciting. This is like a punch in the face for the normies. That's what my thought was when this was first announced in 2014 and 2015. I forgot. But sadly the end result of it is just so mid. Also, not just mid, but it's so off-brand for Gesaffelstein as a musician, because he's just such a I don't want to say such a powerhouse, but it goes really heavy into his music if you listen to the first album or the album that was released last year, which is like imagine Depeche Mode but mixed with FX Twin Come to Daddy. It's something like that. That's the sound of Gesaffelstein. And the idea of that sound reaching the mainstream, it's something that, man, I really like the idea, the concept of it. But the execution in the end is just bland, it's just pop, and it kind of betrays its own sound. I think that is a huge waste of potential, to me at least.
For me, this is the only Gesaffelstein main release, I think it's how it should be considered, thing that I have ever heard, because I don't consider his production side of things as his stuff, you know? Like, if he produced that on site, I don't consider him that Gesaffelstein song. That's a Kanye West song. But Hyperion, or Hyperion, because it's Francais, Hyperion. It's just so... Oh my god, it's just... I listened to this album without knowing who he was, because I listened to it in 2021, and I checked that album, and it was so boring, you know? Like, have you heard something so mid that it's just boring?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's really mid. It's like it's really just commercial pop sound. It's like it's just stuff that you wanted to hit on the radio, and especially during this age, which was the boom of artists like David Guetta. Yeah, something like that. That's right. That's the kind of sound that I get from it, and it just fails. Especially what's more detrimental for this is that Gesaffelstein is an excellent producer. He's got very signature style. He just went 180. I guess I appreciate the effort. Let's say that. However, it just really doesn't fit well, I guess. It just falls off. It falls off. That's sad. It's sad. The idea was good. The potential is there, and it's just poorly executed.
Do we move on?
Yes. Now, from you, we got...
kind of controversial, maybe, but yeah.
Fugazi.
Fugazi, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. Fugazi is one of my favorite bands of all time. It's like my second favorite band of all time. Right behind, like, close call to Nine Inch Nails. Like, it's a close second, but Steady Diet or Nothing, it's an album that I heard, I listened to it, and I thought, okay, this is the worst Fugazi ever, and it's still not that bad. But it's still a wasted potential because it's their second album. It came after Repeater, released in 1990. This was released in 1991, if I remember correctly. It's after the great 13-song compilation, which was the compilation with their two first EPs. And this just sounds so disappointing, you know? It sounds like the band doesn't have any cohesion. I would say that for any other band, that's a non-plus, but for Fugazi especially, it doesn't work. It's surprising because Fugazi had one of the best post-hardcore sound ever, and this album just doesn't deliver. It's just a big meh. It's not bad by any means. It's just the wasted potential of releasing something after Repeater, which is maybe the best post-hardcore album ever. Don't quote me on that, please don't. It's surprising because it's just so disappointing in the sense of, yeah, this is fine. Why is it just fine?
To bring my 5 cents into this is from all of your picks the best album you have brought to the table, but that's because it's Fugazi. It's like you don't have much more of a disappointment range when you bring something like this. Also, well, Ian MacKaye is literally a legend of music, both with Fugazi and with Minor Threat. It's just such a powerhouse. He's such a creative person. He's like a revolutionary for the sound. Kind of unrelated, but one of my favorite producers is, rest in peace, Steve Albini. Steve Albini, when you hear that name, you know how it sounds like. And when you bring up Fugazi, it's like, it's kind of that sound, but I will dare to say it's superior. That's how powerful this is. Well, this album in particular is definitely one of the weakest things in all of Fugazi's discography. It's raw. Of course, it's raw. We're talking about Fugazi. Who else? But
early
it's...
Fugazi.
Yeah, it's like that. It's literally, it's kind of like demos raw. And that's is what kind of hurts the album.
Yeah, you nail it there. It's just like a demo. Great sound, but unpolishedly polished. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have the production edge of it.
The good thing is because, well, it's
Fugazi.
it's because it's Fugazi. That's it. But like if this didn't have the name Fugazi and it was the band Steady Die of Nothing, it would have gone not seen by anybody. Just a really rare niche pick. So it holds up by the name, it holds up by Ian, but well, this album is just really unpolished, and that's what hurts it the most. Thankfully, it's not so long. I think that kind of helps, but it only helps so much.
It's just Fugazi at the end of the day, and they will never be back.
And they will never be back. However, I think if you're gonna leave giving a good legacy. You know?
Yeah, you know. The argument, that's so good, you know. If you're gonna go with an end note like that, just go ahead. But not with Steady Died of Nothing, which is thankfully their second album of 6.
True.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
To the last
Yeah, the last 2 albums. And speaking about ending up on a high note, this is something that's very personal to me, because this album killed an artist. Like, for real. And that album is... Here it is. It's this thing. The Road Part 2. I have so much to say about The Road Part 2 and so little time. So I'm gonna start from the beginning, sadly. I need to tell the story of why I hate The Road Part 2. Why this album personally hurt me. First of all, this would have been a big nothing if it wasn't because it's right there in the name, it says Part 2. The Road Part 1 by Uncle is an album that I actually love. I remember the release of The Road Part 1. Even a little more back, speaking quickly about Uncle, Uncle is James Lavelle. Practically, it's a solo project, but it started as a mutual project with him and DJ Shadow, and it's one of the names that you bring up when you talk about trip hop. However, Uncle was always more into rock experimental trip hop, I guess, and I liked the progression that he had with the albums, from science fiction to, well, the one after science fiction is not very good. It's like science fiction part 2. Then we have War Stories. War Stories is a really interesting progression. And after War Stories, you have Where Did the Night Fall? I think that album is a monster of its own. It's a really, 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 really good record. And then it came a long period of silence from James Lavelle, and then slowly, gradually, quietly started to release singles for what was going to be The Road Part 1. I remember the release of the singles, and I remember falling in love with them. They were really good. It's like bringing back that classic sound from science fiction, but giving slightly a twist. It's like, yeah, it kind of bends the genre, but not too much. Kind of feels nostalgic, but kind of feels new. I was blown away by it, and single by single it was starting to release until the full release came out, and I simply loved it. I think the album is cinematic. I think the interludes that they come up with the album are very creative. You can say it's a little pretentious, and I will say yes, but this is my take in general, not just in music. Sometimes when you add the right amount of pretentiousness in your product, you can come up with something that is really, really good. So that's the thing I love about The Road Part 1. It feels grandiose at times. It's really cinematic, from songs like The Road, the single The Road, the song with
Heaton Henson,
Sing Lullaby. Remove the lyrics, it could feel like soundtrack for a movie. That's the vibe you get from it, but it's a movie in its own. Also, the album cover on The Road Part 1, it's beautiful. I personally think it's a good piece of art, just in general. So, of course, I'm excited from day -1 for The Road Part 2, because you already promised me there's gonna be a part 2. It's literally the name. It says The Road Part 1. So, you hook me up. You got all of my attention. Okay, thankfully, or disgracefully, I guess, not long passes before we get news from The Road Part 2. The first news we get, it's the name of the album. The Road Part 2, Lost Highway. Oh man, that subtlety hits me like a train crash. Where did I get this reference from? Like, the Road Part 2 had a little bit of pretentiousness already, but like I said, the right amount, and then you hit me with this. It's just unapologetically a punch in the face. However, I'm hopeful because I love the Road Part 1. And like a man who ignores a red flag from a girl, I still go in hope. So, the time passes, and the day of the first single release comes. However, I read an article online, and it's an interview with James Lavelle about The Road Part 2, and it says that The Road Part 2 is a collection of a lot of side tracks that came from The Road Part 1, and that should have been the biggest red flag ever. It literally told me from the very beginning what to expect. However, I'm too mad in love, okay? I can't go back, okay? I decide to have faith in this. I decide to have faith in this project. The first single is released. I forgot the name because I hate this album so much that I literally forgot almost everything about it. However, I remember the biggest achievement that this album has is that song, which is the best song in the album, was sampled by Kendrick Lamar on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. That's
You're right.
yeah, that dun 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 dun. That's an uncle song, and that is the best song in this album. That is the best song. Then it's all downhill from there.
Sometimes the best uncle song is a Kendrick Lamar song.
Yeah, that's the Road Part 1. The Road Part 2 is Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. So that single was out and I loved it. So, okay, yeah, I shouldn't be afraid. This is going to be great. And then the second release was released. The second single was released. And I think it's the one that features Mark Lanegan. Mark Lanegan. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, we had a little bit of an issue. Now, that's because I talk about this album. You know, I hate it so much, it ruins my stream. That's another thing that ruins about me. So, the second single of The Road Part 2 was released. And it's the one, I think, where Mark Lanegan makes a feature. Literally the man with the golden touch. Wherever he features, the project is excellent. And he was featuring in Where Did the Night Fall From Uncle and on The Road
Part 1.
And I love the song On The Road
Part 1.
So I listened to this song as well and I like it. However, that was the first listen. So the cracks start to fall as long as you listen to the album. The album comes out, okay? I sit down to listen to this whole thing. I'm starting to like it. Good opener. It's got the interlude, you know. It continues The Road Part 1. You're giving me stuff to enjoy, to be blinded by the lights. Then comes a song, Feel More With Less, which is in itself, I think it's a good song. I was starting to like it. However, there was a problem. The song was not ending. The song was keep going and going and going and dragging and dragging and dragging. And it's like, okay, this is good, but why is it so long? It goes on, and then the next song, and drags, and then I start to look at the runtime. This thing is like hour and a half. This album has a ton of songs, and the songs go on, and you start having covers, and they don't even sound good. You have a cover of The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face, another with
Peyton Henson
feature. Sounds really good. However, I started to see what was the problem. It was literally on that article that I read about it before the release. This is a bunch of B-sides. Put them all together and call it an album. When the best from all of the studio work already was released on The Road Part 1. There was no effort on making an album here. You name it, The Road Part 2 is like, here it is, the second part. You know, the thing that I was keeping in the garbage. Here it is, as an album. And you make a scene for the release. You start to release the singles. Every single single was having a music video or an animation on YouTube, you know, visuals and stuff. You're trying to send me this grandiose thing, just like on The Road Part 1. It's not. It's a bunch of B-sides. It's a bunch of well-produced songs but fully flawed, or really long, or just uninteresting, or literally I hear a better version of this song on the road part 1. That is the problem with this. And to me, that just killed Uncle completely for me. Man, it's so sad to hear that James Lavelle died of Ligma. And maybe it is my fault for having expectations on it. It's just a bunch of B-sides, man. You literally didn't bring me any new music. I wanted new music. And, man, it angers me. You can tell by my voice. But yeah, I guess to quickly sum it up, it's just disappointment because you didn't brought me an album. You painted me that you're going to make something and you didn't make it.
Oh man, that was so
That was so intense. That was so intense. Yeah.
I didn't know what to say at some point because it was a 10-minute speech of how much you hate this mixtape, man.
Dude, yes. I just really hate it. It wouldn't be so bad, I think, if to me at least the road part 1 wasn't so good. The road part 1 was excellent. It had the perfect runtime. It had the right amount of potentials in it. It had the good bit of classic sound mixed with new. The period where the singles were released were so on point. I was there for witnessing the release of the road part 1. That's what affects me the most. By itself, like, taking my ego aside, I still think the road part 2 is just good at parts, but flawed by being so long, by being so uninteresting in general, and because literally you have better versions of the songs in the first release. And clearly he made a bunch of music for the road in general. He took the best, compiled it, made the road part 1. The rest is gonna be the road part 2. Maybe don't put the part 2, like name it the road, Lost Highways, collection of B-sides, be honest, and then make another album. But no.
You know what this reminds me of? Remember when Kendrick Lamar released Unmastered, Unreleased, something like that?
Untitled, Unmastered.
That thing, Untitled, Unmastered. How would have been your reaction if the Road 2 was called, not the Road 2, but Untitled Mess or something like that, and it was just a mixtape of the B-sides, and it was not sold as a part 2?
I think it would have been much better. Funny enough, dude, I'm filled with rage at this moment, but funny enough, James Lavelle kind of did this when War Stories was released, because there is the collection of B-sides from War Stories, which is called Music for Film. Not many people know about this, and as for what it is, as for what is presented, I think it's really good. It's like, yeah, this is literally B-sides from War Stories, but I know where I'm coming from. And I think what you said there is right. That example with Kendrick Lamar, you nailed it. I want to bring up Amnesiac, Kid A and Amnesiac. I think Radiohead was very clever when releasing Amnesiac because they released it in a very short, really short amount of time. No publicity, no anything, no promotion except for a few video clips. So that wasn't detrimental. Many fans of Radiohead say that Amnesiac is weak, but they recognize it for what it is. Here is a lot of marketing. I think the marketing that I bought, I am guilty of seeing that piece of shit burger and eating it expecting to taste like a fucking lobster. And yeah, that's what hurts this album. It's really personal, like I said. I saved this for the last. No Code inspired me to bring up this topic, but this is like I have a statement to say. So yeah, this is The Road Part 2. Piece of shit, garbage album. I hate it. It hurt my family. It hurt my stream. It hurt my mood. It hurt my expectations. It just hurt me. And it killed James Lavelle. James Lavelle, after this piece of garbage, die. That's what this album is.
Oh my god. That would be such a terrific ending, but we have an album.
Yeah, literally, I think he has released stuff after this, something called Running something.
Yeah,
Running 1 and
yeah.
2. And I think I listened to parts of it, and I think I recognized instrumentals from The Road Part 2. You reminded me of this. Make new music. Make new music. No, you're not gonna make new music. you died. This album killed an artist. I think that's detrimental. Like, so disappointing that anything after that doesn't exist. That's it. This is the last Airbender directed by M. Night Shyamalan of music, to me at least. It doesn't exist.
Oh my god.
Okay, shall we move? Do you want to add something, or we move on, because I'm getting really angry?
Okay. Quick, I'm gonna say I only have listened to the first two albums by Uncle. I think Science Fiction is one of the greatest releases of all time. I think the second album, Neverland, is so mid that it doesn't deserve any recognition. That's all. I haven't heard this album because it's an hour and 20 minutes long, and I don't have the time. If I don't have the time for Swans, I definitely have no time for The Road Part 2.
That's fair. That's it. Skip it, fully skip it. Give it a try on The Road Part 1 and Where Did the Night Fall. I think those are great records. Okay, yeah, for my own mental health, I'm gonna hurt you instead.
My mental health is now gonna be ruined.
Yeah, okay, out of the way. Oh.
Yeah, Sonic Highways by Foo Fighters, released in 2014. I remember, I was there. This is the soundtrack. Is the soundtrack of a TV series of Foo Fighters going on a US journey to several locations. It's an actual soundtrack because each episode of that miniseries called Sonic Highways is based on you go to X city and you made a song inspired by that city. The miniseries is surprisingly decent, I would say. This album is 8 songs long and it's so dull. And for me, this is the pivotal point of me saying maybe the Foo Fighters aren't good. And that broke a part of me, the child in me. Because growing up as a child, I thought the Foo Fighters were the best band of all time. I heard Everlong and when I was like 15 and I fell in love with it. I thought when I was like 5 years old that Dave Grohl was a cool dude, anything else, because my parents loved this band. And Wasting Light, the album before this one, was really good. Burning Bridges, Walk, Rope, several guest stars. This is full of guest stars. It has production from Steel Vinny in one track, surprisingly. But yeah, it's just a dull album. I would call it pretentiously dull. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work as a standalone album. It works as a complementary to a documentary, and that angers me a lot. I don't want to watch a documentary. I don't want to watch this. I want to listen to a record, you know. But this is just it was disappointing for me. It's the most disappointing album I have heard because it's not bad, it's just not good. If you came from Wasting Light to this in just 3 years, something's wrong with you. I have nothing to add.
You know, I agree with the disappointment because I also remember the release of this album, and the best about this is the idea. Because it's the 8th studio album. It's got the 8. There it is. It's in the album cover. There it is. It's the 8. Yeah, it's got 8 songs. Man. And when promoting it, they already say what they were going to do. They were going to make like a tour around the United States, and they were going to work with one producer for each one of their songs, and it's going to be like the reflection of that location, that iconic location in the United States, made into a record.
Yeah.
The idea is great. Like, you are the Foo Fighters. You already cemented yourself as one of the biggest acts of rock. So this is like a nice celebration of you as your 8th studio album, and a nice celebration for you being a North American band. So you got those two things, and well, what can I say? This album is just mid. The end result, the idea of being like, oh, we're gonna work with one producer and this other location and this other producer, and one's gonna be the song of Seattle and the one's gonna be the song of New York, it all sounds like Foo Fighters, bro. That's the thing that hurts the album. It all sounds like Foo Fighters, and the album in itself, it's good. Like, yeah, it's good. But what you're trying to give me here is not a very interesting end product. You know, it takes me a little back of No Code. However, this had a lot of intentionality. Like, we are going to give you this. You know, this is our central theme. No Code didn't have central theme, or it was very abstract, but this is very purposely made, and the purpose is just it just sounds like your average music, man. It's not even part of your highest on your catalog. It was a good idea, a good celebration for your career as a North American band. You just made something that's just alright. And I think it wouldn't have been this bad if it wasn't for all the promotion that you were doing for this.
Yeah, like for me, the documentary is entertaining as a way to, to know more American stuff and the cultural importance of, I don't know, Chicago or something like that, or Nashville for someone who's not from the US, like for both of us. But the end result is just making a song, and if the song is not good, why bother? That's all. I'm becoming not angry but disappointed right now.
Yeah, it's just a very disappointing and a huge waste of potential, because the album had potential, and it's just
go and watch the documentary rather than listen to the album. It's so much satisfying. The New York episode is really good.
Before we wrap it up, this also reminds me of a better product made by Dave Grohl, which is the Sound City record, Real to Real.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Both the movie, because Dave Grohl was making a documentary about Sound City Studios, which was where Nevermind was produced. That's right, Nevermind, and a lot of other great records.
Pinkerton was worked on there.
Oh, really good stuff. So both the documentary and the album that comes with it, I think both are really good. I really like the album that came with that.
Me too.
So this one is just it just doesn't reach that high, I guess.
It's not awful by any means. It's not awful.
Yeah,
but it's just so interesting, which is maybe worse.
So I guess I'm really happy with what we've been discussing today. It took a lot out of my chest. I had a lot of things bottled up. I didn't even knew that I had so much bottled up, but I think I really like this time of the conversation. To close it up, I want to say that, as you can possibly see now, respect this channel. We already made this statement. We are not going to compromise ourselves with schedules or anything. However, we do want to compromise. We're making a little bit more of quality product. So as you can see, we are improving the presentation of these videos and streams. We are slowly improving on what the videos are going to be edited and then uploaded on YouTube. We have clearly improved the audio quality this time. I started to Google up how do OBS works and how can I improve my audio. So we want to bring every single time a better and better experience. So I think we figure out a formula to go on with this channel, which is having discussions on a topic, bringing a group of albums, and each one bring it their random thoughts. I have a little bit of faith that this thing can go on.
Yeah, and let's just pray, because let's be thankful because the camera didn't broke down this time.
That's right. That's an issue that's been resolved, hopefully permanently. I want personally to improve the quality of this brand and hopefully go somewhere with this.
I totally do the same. I want this project to succeed, because we talked for this for like a year before making it.
True. So I think we're going places one step at a time. So if you stumble with our content, thank you for your time. I hope you stay tuned. We hope to stay tuned in other resources. We have our Instagram, which is right there, Music Collective TV. We haven't started a Twitter yet because I personally don't like that social network, just that. However, we want to see how we can announce, how we can promote, but one step at a time. This is a lot of work. I've learned that. We're learning how to do this, and as we're learning, we hope to improve it more and more. I guess that's it.
Thank you for listening to it. Thank you for everything, and this great time. See ya.